Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. One of the questions we'll be asking our first guest is what's going on with the big shakeup nationwide with unions, plus nanotechnology. Ray Hagar has the rundown.
Thanks, Sam. Our first guest is Jeff German of the Las Vegas Sun, and our second guest is Dr. Jesse Adams, a master of nanotechnology. That's the science of the small, and we're not talking about the number of Republicans in the state assembly.
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Mike Alonso, Bill Brainard, and Dick Gammick. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
High-tech companies demand perfect world amenities. They require clean, reliable power, state-of-the-art fiber optic communications, and clean water sources. In a perfect world, companies would have immediate access to rail and interstate freeways. There would be 4-lane expressways that shorten shipping times and provide convenient commute routes for valued employees. Well, the future is now, and it's here. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
Nevada Newsmakers is sponsored in part by the Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and social security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by Las Vegas Sun columnist Jeff German, one of the top investigative reporters in the state. Jeff, you've been following a story here over the last few days about the Las Vegas Visitor and Convention Authority and R&R Partners and the use of the famous slogan for Las Vegas, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas." What's the latest?
Well, the latest is there's just a lot of questions about a deal that they supposedly put in writing back in November of 2004, in which the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority turned over the rights to this very famous slogan back to R&R for its own personal use. And this is a slogan that has said to be very valuable, and there are a lot of questions raised about this deal, which basically was done behind closed doors.
Jeff, if R&R created the phrase, then why shouldn't they be able to profit from it?
Well, as part of their agreement, their overall agreement with the LVCVA, they have to give this, the work product is owned by the Convention Authority, and they have to agree to that before they even decide, are allowed to work with them, and that's pretty standard in the industry. So the LVCVA owns everything, even though R&R creates the phrase, it's owned by the client.
Okay,
so that's why this is becoming a little bit unusual, because now R&R, now LVCVA is turning this back to R&R, and this is something that's potentially very lucrative, and people are wondering why are they doing this. R&R and The LVCVA contend it was merely done to allow R&R, which is expertise in this area in terms of having some lawyers who pursue this kind of thing in court, to challenge it, to protect the mark from anybody who might be infringing on it, because there are a lot of copycats out there all over the country, and in fact R&R has already sued one businesswoman for allegedly violating the slogan.
Okay, so they're actually protecting the slogan on behalf of the convention or authority through their business, correct?
Right, that's what they're claiming they're doing, and they obviously are trying to do that, but the problem here is that in allowing R&R to have the mark, they're also giving R&R the rights to profit from this mark, which could, and people are wondering, well, why would a public agency be doing something like that? Shouldn't that money be, if there is any money to make, shouldn't it be going to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, which is a public agency?
Jeff, now this was sold to R&R for $1, correct?
Yes, yes, it was.
Okay, and R&R is paid $65 million annually to promote Las Vegas. Is that correct?
Yeah, about 65, 66 million.
Well, then aren't the taxpayers getting hosed over this thing? I mean,
well, that's what it would appear to be the case, and that's why now finally it looks like the 13-member board of the Convention Authority wants to re-examine this, and they've scheduled it on its next agenda, I think, on at its next meeting on July 12th.
Okay, let's clarify something. It isn't actually the taxpayers of Southern Nevada. It's actually isn't that all room tax money that funds the Convention Authority?
Yes, it is. I don't think we say taxpayers, but I mean it's taxpayers, but it's not necessarily from Southern Nevada. You're right. It's public money though, which funds this agency.
It's kind of like tourist tax money.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
Like our gaming win tax.
Yes.
Okay, so the bottom line is that the board is now going to meet to discuss this?
That's what they say. They're going to put it on the July 12th agenda.
Okay, we'll follow the story from there. One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, Jeff, was you wrote a column recently about, the big shakeups that are going on in the union business across the nation, and I wondered how this affects Southern Nevada, as well as Northern Nevada as well.
Well, we're not sure exactly what's going to happen. Right now there's a lot of uncertainty on the national scene. There's a group of 5 now, I guess 6 unions, including Unite Here, which is a merged union with members of the Culinary Union. They have sort of broken away unofficially, formed their own little coalition, and there's talk that they may ultimately break away. They're trying to get the National Labor folks to focus more on organizing, to beef up the numbers of labor which have been declining in recent years, and then which would, by beefing it up, would improve their, or bolster their political clout. And so there's this big rift there. But in terms of the state, we've had it's been a pretty cohesive unit, the AFL-CIO here. The Culinary Union is the driving force of the AFL-CIO, and they get along very well with the state leaders, Danny Thompson and the like, and so it's putting them in a tough position. They both say that they're going to still have a good working relationship, whether or not there is a breakup on the national level. But it's got to create a lot of uncertainty, I would think, right now.
Okay, Jeff, you recently praised Lieutenant Governor Lorraine Hunt for taking the Yucca Mountain fight right to the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. Do you see Ms. Hunt as a good candidate to become the next governor?
Do I see her as a good candidate?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I think there are people who have said that she may not be the best candidate. That's why there's been talk that Jim Rogers may get into the race, and there are a lot of prominent Republicans who are trying to get Rogers into the race. So that may say what the folks back there think.
I saw the results of that Magellan poll that came out of 1,000 people, and it looks like Jim Gibbons, despite any gaffes that have occurred over the last year, appears to be the Teflon candidate.
He may be, but I think he hasn't had any real challenges yet within the primary, and if Rogers gets in, he'll have a lot of money to spend to attack Gibbons and some of his gaffes that he has made, and so it could be a whole different story by the end of the primary.
Well, we always appreciate your time, sir, and we'll look forward to having you back on. Jeff German, top investigative reporter for the Las Vegas Sun. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this time out with nanotechnology.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org. The National Mining Association.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
According to Scientific American in 2004, our next guest, Jesse Adams, was named the top defense research leader in that year. Welcome to the program here.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to have you here. I found out about you through Casey Howard's article in the Las Vegas Review-Journal that you've come up with this sensor. Their headline was, UNR researchers' lovelorn sensor might lead to homeland security breakthrough. You want to explain that?
Sure. We've developed a new way to sense microcantilever arrays.
Hang on, explain that.
Okay. So the sensing technology of small resonators, small things that shake, and something lands on it and it changes the frequency it shakes at. This technology has been around since the early 90s, and the technology that we've developed, we basically fused together some things that existed out there already. So we have to give credit where credit's due, and found a way to sense a large number of these cantilevers or these resonators very simply with just 2 leads, which allows us to make and design a very small package. And others have already shown that these sensors can be very, very sensitive, incredibly sensitive.
Okay, now
and so we can sense down to very low concentrations with these.
Well, and you're able to detect bombs with these?
We've detected TNT, PETN, RDX. These are components of explosives that you don't want on airplanes, you don't want in cars in Iraq, you don't want left alone in airports. So these are the explosives that we've detected. We can also detect chemicals, biological agent analogs, signatures of nuclear proliferation.
And it's through resonation.
What's that?
And it's through resonation.
Yeah, the resonance of these small levers, very small, and these, she said lovelorn because they have different coatings on them. They're looking for different things in the environment.
But you said these sensors sense the vapors of these explosives and ethanol and things. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. Now, nanotechnology, a nanometer, which is a basic form of measurement, that's 1/1000th of a meter. Is that correct?
You've done your homework.
Okay.
That's right.
And let me go back to a 1966 movie called The Fantastic Voyage.
All right.
And in that movie, a group of scientists and doctors were shrunk down to nanometer size, and included in the cast was Raquel Welch. I don't know if you remember that movie.
This is before my time.
Well, it was a great movie, but they shrunk them down to nanometer size and injected them into a bloodstream of a professor who had a blood clot, and they went through his bloodstream, his circulatory system, and zapped out this big blood clot. Now, that was science fiction then, but with nanotechnology, something like that is right on the edge of happening, isn't it?
If not already happening.
Oh.
Yeah.
But no Raquel Welch in this.
I don't think they've shrunk anybody down and put them in a bloodstream.
Okay.
No. But they are making smaller and smaller devices, and there's devices that could be used inside the body. What we're doing is making sensors. That's our part of nanotechnology, and we can use these sensors to detect vapors. Others have used the similar sensor to detect DNA and to look for other things in the blood, and they could be used in medical applications.
Okay, let's show a comparison of size. We took one of your sensors. Is this a whole sensor?
Yeah, that was a sensor chip. Didn't finish. It was just brought out of the process for demonstration. It's not complete.
So that's a sensor chip, and that's sitting on his finger. I mean, it's just tiny. And how big a unit needs to contain that for it to be able to work?
Right. The sensor chip that you took the picture of has 80 sensors, and that's the core.
80 sensors,
80 sensors
on this tiny thing on your
the tiny chip, and that's the core. We could actually put more on that, and we may in future designs. That's at the core, and what we're imagining is making a 2-inch cube that will contain the electronics, the air handling, and a core that has some of these sensors at the center of it. And that could be used to detect explosives, chemical vapors, signatures of nuclear proliferation, and even biological agents, and could eventually be used for medical diagnostics, and could be sold at in the $100 to $500 range in 5 years, which is incredible.
How much is that sensor? Because I sneezed and it flew away and we lost it. So how much do I owe you?
Oh, it depends on the whole system and how many we're making. The great thing about this is we can make them in bulk.
Okay.
So it's like the microprocessor. It gets really cheap or less expensive the more we make.
Okay, so are there any airports or the Department of Defense working with you at this point to put this into practice?
Yeah, we have some funding from DARPA at this point.
Who invented the internet, right?
Well, it's always a question who invented the internet.
No, but that's where it came from.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. But there's Al
for
Gore and I don't know who else. But yeah, DARPA's funded us to develop a sensor unit and a prototype to be put in shipping containers. That's another big need, where these small units could be put in shipping containers. They could also be used in airports and for building security, but we have some funding there.
Well, because that's a huge problem, with shipping containers coming from all over the world, and our ports are basically unprotected. So
it's a huge problem, yeah.
Doctor, nanotechnology, Silicon Valley is the home for computer technology.
Yeah.
Can Reno, Sparks area become the Silicon Valley of nanotechnology?
It could. It really could. That's something that we were looking at, my group and several of us, when we started the nanotechnology program. Rob Smith from Nevada Ventures and Stuart Fagan, when we started this program, the Nevada Ventures Nanoscience Program, was to stimulate this research area and find a niche. And we started a company, Nevada Nanotech Systems, to develop this technology, as actually spun out of that. And if the right leadership was in place, the right decisions were made, and we focused on our strengths, we have a lot of strength in biology and medicine, and we have the tools necessary with the engineers, there could be a great focus in nanotechnology.
Is there one name that should be leading this charge?
One name that should be leading this charge? I don't know.
Okay, we'll leave it there.
We need help from the administration, the state, and at the federal level to get the funds to do that.
Fascinating stuff. We thank you so much for being here. Keep us posted on the developments with you. We'll have you come back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
We really appreciate it. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with the Pundits after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on 3 goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seem to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
Just want to let you know that all Nevada Newsmakers programs are now online at nevadanewsmakers.com. You can go there and see streaming video. We've got 2 weeks worth of shows, and each day's shows are up there by about 4:45 each afternoon. Our Power Pundit panel today, Bill Brainard is here. He's a community activist. Mike Alonso with the fine law firm of Jones Vargas. And Dick Gammick, Washoe County District Attorney. Welcome to all of you. I wanted to follow up on the Jeff Gurman interview with you, Mike. You have a role in this, correct?
Well, I don't personally have a role. The firm represents R&R in one of the lawsuits pertaining to the infringement on the "What Happens Here Stays Here" slogan, and I think the story is a lot about nothing. I think R&R and LVCVA made a deal so that R&R could pursue protecting that valid mark. There's a lot of infringement going on that slogan, or whatever you want to call it, including gaming companies down in Las Vegas who are using variations of it. And I think from the LVCVA's perspective, they just didn't want to have to file all the lawsuits and get in that public mess, and so R&R took that task for them.
Who actually came up with the phrase or thought of the phrase, "What happens here stays here"?
Somebody that works for R&R, as I understand it.
Oh, yeah.
One of their creative people.
You know, absolutely.
I've been hearing that phrase for years and years. Why did it all of a sudden become a copyrighted phrase? I have a tough time dealing with that when you take common language and then somebody runs in and copyrights it, and now everybody's in violation of it.
Well, they made
strange
a lot of money
world.
off it.
Well, they've spent a lot of money promoting that as their brand in Las Vegas, and I would be astonished for them. And the other thing that I can't see is, this is a huge account for R&R. Why would they do anything that would put them in bad stead with the convention authority? That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and I think if R&R was actually going out and selling T-shirts or doing something for profit on the side, there'd be a story
industry,
here.
Right?
But I think there's a good reason. I think that will all come out, and I think R&R is very loyal to the LVCVA for good reason, and they're trying to protect that mark for them.
But Michael, don't they have the potential now to go out and profit from that phrase by selling T-shirts and souvenirs?
I don't know what the agreement said or what the understanding was between Mr. Rallencotter and Billy V, but I don't think that was what the intention was.
Okay, if you don't mind, I'd like to just move on here. I think we've taken as much as we can out of this. Let's wait till the board meeting, and then
Let's beat a dead
go
horse some more.
Okay, Dick, you've got a story running here. We've talked about it before on the show, about murder suspects from the United States that are in Mexico, and what's going on with this right now?
Well, I understand there's some developments going. At the time we had it, we contacted all of our congressional folks here and said, this is the issue we've run into. Talked to Clark County, and they've got 6 people who are wanted for murder who are in Mexico. And what we've been told by the Mexican authorities is that if we will guarantee they will not get the death penalty, which we've dealt that with a lot of countries, so that doesn't bother me. We weigh that case by case. But they also told us if we will guarantee they won't get life without, then they'll extradite them back to the United States. Well, that means reducing charges, and they're charged with murder. I have a tough time, and I won't do that. I just flat told them I'm not doing it. Thank you. Have a nice day. So what happened, we contacted congressional delegation. Senator Reid sent a letter to President Fox asking about his presentation. I understand from Congressman Gibbons' office that this issue is coming up in the Congress to see what can be done about it. Right now, I have no idea how many people we have hiding out in Mexico because of this. And then we're even getting information back now that they've basically organized that now you can go down and hire a murderer, they'll run up here and kill somebody and then run back to Mexico. Kind of a Murder Incorporated type thing going on down there now because they know of the protections they receive. So it looks like it's going to become a pretty big issue.
That's pretty frightening. Bill, I'd like to talk to you about the President's speech last night. Changing gears again, did you find reassurance in his speech?
Well, I thought he gave an excellent speech. I thought he basically said what he's been trying to say all the way along, that he's going to stay the course, and that he thinks and he believes that if we were to back out which is one of the things they were asking him to do, is one, back out, or else give a date when he's going to back out. He says, we can't do that. We're trying to put a government in place, and we're trying to support that government, and if we give a date that we're going to exit, the people that are not very nice are going to just wait for that date, and then they're going to come back out again. So, frankly, I think he explained what he's doing. Now, people may not like what he's doing, but he's explained it to the public as to exactly what his approach is to this, and it's to put Iraq into a position where they can take care of themselves. And it's going to take a while. All you have to do is think back to Korea. I think we still have people.
We have thousands of troops.
Yeah, we have people on the. We still have on the 38th parallel, as far as I know. In Germany, we had a lot of folks there. After I believe we're still in Bosnia, but I'm not entirely certain. I think we are. But seriously, when you go in and you take action, you really don't want to back away until you've reached the goal that you were trying to get.
Okay. So, well, Mike, Bush got on the aircraft carrier months ago and said, mission accomplished. And now we're in this war that we can't get out of. We're in another Vietnam.
Well, Ray, the mission that he had accomplished was that the military had been basically had been defeated. Not as far as the, it's like saying the IRA doesn't exist in Ireland. It does, in fact, exist.
Okay, Mike, let me ask you this. What are the political ramifications? We've got midterm elections coming up. How is this going to affect the Republican Party?
Well, I think that was an issue in the last presidential election, and Bush won. I think it depends on the candidate. And obviously, if this thing drags on, that's going to be the issue for Bush. He's not coming up with specifics, but as Bill said, he really can't. He can't play that hand. I mean, the goal is to get the government in there, and that's going to take a long time. I think people understand that, but people are going to grow weary of it. They don't like seeing it on the news every day, and it may have an impact. I think it's too early to tell right now.
Dick, you got the last 10 seconds.
Okay. Well, people just think back a little bit on this. When the president launched, he said we were going to be there for a long time. The question is, do we want to resolve this and get it done, finished, or do we want to wind up where we were the last time we attacked them and then backed out, and then we got hit hard? And then we're back in again. Let's get it done. Let's finish it.
And we're out of time. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, water resources come from fresh, clean groundwater, approved by state permits. The water is pumped from wells to million-gallon storage tanks and then distributed to TRI companies. Another amenity is our investment in a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. This disposal system converts waste to clean water for industrial applications. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevada.
And coming up tomorrow?
Well, Sam, we have Vince Consul, the head of the Nevada Bar Association, and a new program from Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
It'll be a very interesting show. Join us tomorrow.
Okay, thanks.